I'm Christine Escobar, mother of 4, raised in Boyle Heights. This podcast will not just help empower women, but help them find that inner confidence, fierceness, motivation, and path towards success. Whether it's life, relationships, business, or a push forward, together let's get inspired. This is Así o Más Claro with Christine Escobar. Hello, everyone. This is Christine coming to you from the city of Pasadena. And I wanted to end this Women's Empowerment Month or Women's History Month with my most special person ever, a woman that for sure is going to make history, my one and only daughter, Ashley. I love her so much, so here she is.
Yay! Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I feel really nervous right now. I don't know why, but I'm really excited. Thank you.
Well, it's an honor for me to have you, not only because you're my daughter, but I think this the month of March is so impactful by special women, and I thought, you know what, she has to end the month or my 4th podcast with just who you are and the messages that you're going to be able to give to young girls your age. So I think that's amazing. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. And we just had Gracefully Fierce, and it was a super amazing one. Like, I think it was the best one yet, and I think it's only going to get better, and I'm so excited to be doing with you and just to grow as a person too, like speaking. I just started doing that recently, and I also sometimes like go up at EMA, which is my dad's event that a lot of you guys should go to as well. But every time I would go up there, I'd be super nervous, and I feel like I'm just only getting better and better and more confident in myself. So yeah,
I think you're a natural, honestly. Of course, everybody gets nervous. I still get nervous, but I think when you know what message you want to relay, right? Mm-hmm. When it's coming from a good place, that's when it's just like boom, like just you're spitting fire when you speak. Or that's what I think. Or when I see you up there, maybe just I'm being biased because you're my daughter. But so many people told you that at Gracefully Fierce. It's like, wow.
Yeah, it felt so good. I got a lot of girls coming up to me saying that I inspired them, and one girl came up to me and said, you made my daughter cry. She never cries. Or,
wow.
Your story was really impactful. So that was super cool to know that people were actually listening to me and that I inspired, at least 1 or 2 people. I think that's the most important thing. And before I spoke, I was looking at videos like, what do good public speakers do? Like, how do they practice for their speech?
Wow.
And one of them was, you go there to give. Like, you're not there to take. Like how most people say, like, this is what I offer. Follow me. Get my do all this, right? Which is good, but for being someone who's new to to public speaking and sharing my message, I think that was really important for me to do, was to just go and give my message and know that it would reach somebody.
Yeah, and you made it about others. I think that was important. And you speak from a genuine, real place. And sometimes other people have hidden agendas. And, regardless if you're young or you just started, I don't think it matters. Like, don't ever attach yourself that you just started or that you're young. It's what you're relaying.
Yeah, and that definitely went through my head because you had all these like amazing speakers like Sandra, like, you guys are all at a certain place in your life where you guys, I guess, not have it figured out, but you guys have gone through a lot of things in your life that you've overcome, you've learned, you've grown. And I feel like, I'm 25. Yeah, I have gone through things, but my life is just starting also. So I'm also going through the process of learning about myself, improving on myself and just growing and learning and just trying to be the best version of myself. So yeah, that went through my head where I was just like, man, like all these women have so much to say. Like, who's going to listen to me? But at the end of the day, I just got out of my head and I was like, no, I do have a message to share, and I think it will reach somebody. So
it definitely did, child. Yeah. It did. But, I was going to say something. Imagine where you'll be at 45.
I know.
Like, that's impressive.
I'm going to be freaking amazing.
You already are. You're just going to get better and better. So, I think usually when I interview someone, it's just kind of, it goes with the flow. Sometimes there's like certain things I really want to speak to the person. That's why they're here. But I think things that we've talked about and we've shared is definitely how to deal with expectations, not only from parents, but from like a job. We're going to talk about confidence. We're talking about being genuine and coming across people that are not genuine. And also, the way that we we wrote it down is daddy issues, but everybody can call it that. That's a very soft, delicate, and...
Okay, everyone, warning, we're probably going to cry.
So those are the 4 things. And then we did ask Instagram what would be some questions they would like to hear or answers to or us talk about. So we'll get to that towards the end. So I'll let you choose. What do you want to talk about first?
Let's get daddy issues over with, because I already know I might cry.
Okay. So do you want to start?
Or
do you want me to just?
I'm already gonna start crying. Oh no.
Okay. Well. Well,
if you want to start touching on something, and then kind of like we'll chime in.
Okay. Well, let's see. You were, yikesters. You were 2 when I decided to end the relationship with your dad. So you were extremely young. I think as a little girl, like, do you remember, how young you were, or do you have an attachment to that time frame of your life?
No, I have like literally no memory in my mind that I could think of you and my dad being together, which I think it kind of helped a little bit seeing you guys with other people, especially like versus maybe somebody whose parents were together for 10 years or whatever, and then they go through a divorce. I think that's really hard.
The impact would be.
Yeah, the impact is different. But for me, I think what really was hard for me was was like going back and forth, right? When my dad was an alcoholic. Sharing. Yeah, the sharing, the fighting, you guys didn't realize it, but all the fighting and all that, like, it was chaos, in our world. And, oh no, I'm going to cry already.
It's okay.
It's still things I go through too. So that's why I'm like, oh, I'm going to cry, because it still hits home sometimes where, like thinking about those times where we went through those things, like crying and calling you, not wanting to go to my dad's, or feeling scared because I don't really know this person, all I knew was you. So it was definitely hard to have like some man. It's like some man just coming and saying like, oh, you're my kids, like, come with me. Yeah. And I really only enjoyed going over there mostly was because my little brother, and then, my stepmom, she was really kind to me. And, I think I was used to that mother figure, right? The women in my life. I always had just women in my life, women who raised me. So I think that's the only reason why I kind of enjoyed it. But for the most part, it just felt like chaos in my life, like going back and forth and then not talking to my dad and then talking to him, because
kind of unstable, maybe. Yes,
very unstable. And, it affected me more than I thought. And, him being an alcoholic, it was a lot harder too, because I remember one time he would just talk nonsense and things like that. And I always say this, I remember that one time when he picked us up from the park, and and the police were there. Like, imagine being, I don't even remember how old I was at that point, but I know I was pretty young, because we were when Eddie was playing baseball. Yeah, so it's crazy to know that I vividly remember that moment. And like, imagine having to be picked up by police, because we didn't want to go with him. We just didn't want to go with him. So that was definitely hard. I've always had a very weird relationship with my dad. I always, forgave him and was like, okay, you know, let's give this a try again. And because I always longed for that daddy-daughter relationship, right? Like, because I've seen girls, you know, that have that close bond with their dad. It's different than a mother-daughter relationship. It totally is. And I know now because, you know, I have Willy now. But yeah, I remember even one time at school, some guy asked me, some kid, it was in 7th grade or 6th grade. I forgot. He's like, do you even have a dad? And I was like, yes, I do. You know, it's things like that you don't realize that affect you, but it's like
hurtful.
Yeah, it's like, man, I really want that relationship. So that was definitely hard. And sometimes I don't talk to my dad now. You know, here and there he'll text me like, hey, I love you. And sometimes I'll respond. But for the most part, I really chose to not speak to him because the simple fact that he affected me too much emotionally. You know, it was too emotionally draining. If any of you guys know like an addict, it's just, he will forever be an addict, no matter if he was sober for 10 years, because he was sober for a very long time. And those were the best times. Those honestly, when he was sober, like I loved my dad so much. And I really enjoyed those moments that we had together. You know, he would pick me up. He would even like, we'd go to the movies with my boyfriend. Like he was cool to me, you know? And so that was amazing, but he stopped being sober, and I honestly don't know if he's sober now, but they reel you in a weird way where it's like he would call me like crying and saying like he needs me and he doesn't want to be here anymore, like, you know, saying suicidal things. And
they know how to sabotage.
Yes,
right? It's part of the disease.
Yeah. And I realized that he's just an addict, and that's how they are. They cry for help, but they're still going to continue to do what they do, and they have no regards for the other person and how they're affecting them. So, yeah, I mean, as of right now, I don't talk to him. And, you know, I sometimes think about it like, man, I don't want it to come to a point where, you know, he's on his deathbed or he's in the hospital, and I'm like, what if I could have helped, or what if I could have maybe had a relationship with him? Because I know you went through a similar experience where your dad had a stroke, and you guys have been talking since then. And I don't want it to get to that point, but I also don't want him to affect me where I'm like, you know, I can't do certain things, or like I'm thinking about him. Like, you know, I always felt like he was a kid and I'm the parent. He even told me, he's like, I know this is shouldn't be this way, but you know, you teach me a lot. And you know, so
I think, you know, especially when, I mean, gosh, just to go back into time, right? Unfortunately, you know, we separated, those things happened, and I think, you know, that maturity level doesn't get reached for a very long time. And the ones that end up losing and getting affected are the kids, right? And it's horrible. Like, I hate that you guys went through things like that. It's something that I never imagined. But, you know, I couldn't rescue you from the little things, right? It's only what was in my power and my control. And I think when a parent has, you know, a disease like alcoholism, it can take over completely and overshadow the good parts of that person, right? Just like you said, you know, you loved it, you enjoyed the time. It's just, but sometimes it's a little superficial, right? Yeah. It's he went through a time frame, and who knows why he relapsed, right? Maybe you'll never know. But I think,
I mean, I do know the reason, which I could share that too, but yeah, he was just weak. He went through a time in his life where things weren't going, I guess, his way or right. You know, he lost his family, and now most of his kids don't talk to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, also how you said, you know, it's that decision, right? Or how I decided to talk to my dad. My dad, I have amazing memories. You know, as a kid, he was a very loving dad. You know, he would take us to the store, cared about, you know, us having necessities and things like that. He was very detailed. But, you know, he became an absent father since I was in the 4th grade. You know, I've gone through a lot of trauma because of that, not just, him being in and out of jail, but just everything that we went through. But, when I became a mom, I thought I want my kids to know that they have a grandpa, and I made the decision to look for him. But, as the years went by and different things were happening, I kind of stayed away. And then when he did have his stroke, he had a stroke and a heart attack, at the same time, I just thought, oh my God, I'm going to lose him. Like I regretted all those moments, but I can honestly say I have more good memories than bad. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what I'm holding on to. I'm holding it on to now even. Mm-hmm. But I made the decision like, okay, either I let him affect me or I don't. Mm-hmm. So I love him from afar. I do call him. I do see him sometimes. Not as often as I should, but it's also guarding myself just still from all of that. But, I had to go to therapy for a long time because of it. And I think that's what's helped me. I'm sure it's something that helps other people, but, and I've told you before, because you don't want to wake up 40.
Yeah.
Right. And be like, shit, I still have these issues. Right. Mm-hmm. And whether we want to know or not, it affects us in relationships. It affects us with another male relationship. Mm-hmm. It just does.
Definitely. I've seen that come up for sure.
Yeah.
And the expectations part.
Of course. See, as a father, when you're a father, you are that first male figure to a daughter. You are the first person to teach her security, unconditional love, or that strength, that like
the tough love,
just that like loving person where they just want to love you no matter what. Because a mom could be a little tougher, right? Mm-hmm. But and not all dads are the same, but that's like the typical that you see, right? When you have an absent father, it's what you see in other girls that are your friends, right? So I think it's huge. It's a huge role. And, if any fathers are listening and you have a daughter, you're planning to have a daughter, your role, honestly, is, I think, even bigger than a mother's. I don't know. I personally feel that way. And just the impact and effects it'll have. Effects in the life of your daughter, for sure.
Yeah, I think a big one is security. I think for the longest, I felt so insecure because I was like looking for that love, that, male figure, that male love. And I definitely felt insecure for a very long time. Like I wasn't good enough because I think maybe because of my dad, like I would cry saying like he loves his other kids more because he does have other kids. And he was sober. He was a good dad. Like I always say like, oh, they got the good dad. Mm-hmm. Growing up, he was always at baseball games. He was, like a normal dad, going to baseball games, picking them up from school, going to school with them, taking them to school. I never had that. Even as simple as taking me to school or picking me up from school or, signing me up for baseball or soccer or all these things. Like I never had that. And it was always my mom doing it. And, it's crazy, but it's affected me more than I thought. Even now, I think I'm not fully healed because I'm not ready to have that relationship with him. I think when, I've gone through it and I've really processed everything, I think I will be ready to have that relationship with him, and accept him for who he is. I love him and I love him for the things that he has done for me and what he's taught me. But I don't think I'm ready at this point. And like you said, therapy, I think, maybe I should do therapy, and maybe that will help me and to let things go and to really just heal from everything. But yeah, we'll see.
We'll see here. The beauty of therapy, right, is, we have gone through this like negative connotation. It's only for people that are crazy, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But it's being mentally healthy, right? It's knowing that, it's not your fault. You have nothing to do with it. You can't choose your parents. This is what happened. Mm-hmm. But you can choose how much it continues to affect you, right? A therapist's job is to help you see just your role And also to set boundaries. I think that's the magic of therapy is, setting those boundaries, and then you going through breakthroughs like, oh my God, so that's why I'm like that, or that's why I respond that way. And not that they are there to fix you, but they are there to guide you to your blind spots. That's how I see it.
To make you realize certain things that you don't. Yeah.
And I mean, I could tell you 100 things, but I'm your mom, right?
Exactly. It's different. Yeah. I was telling someone the other day too. It's different when it's your parents. Like, they can tell you all these good things, like you should do this, you should do that, but sometimes we just don't listen to our parents. I don't know what it is. It's just like when it comes from an outside person that's not your family, it's a different impact.
It lands differently.
It does. That's just how it is, I think. And I've talked to people about, my dad and stuff. And one of my brothers, Andrew, he, we talk about it all the time. We cry about it all the time. It's funny, like we're always talking about it. And, he got affected more than any of us. He said, he told me, he's like, I used to think you and Eddie is my older brother, were mean when you didn't want to talk to Dad. I thought you guys were, just mean people. Like you didn't care about him.
Wow.
He's like, but now I get it, because he's now has the not sober dad. So he knows, how he can be and how he can affect you in a crazy way. But, I love my dad and I always will. And I hope to one day have that relationship. So, I'm still growing, I'm still learning. So I definitely do think that I need to work on, healing from that, and just accepting that that's how my life went, and knowing that it was, I always say this, like, and I hear this from, I don't know if any of you guys know Ed Milet, but he always says, things happen for you, not, to you.
Right.
So it's knowing that I went through that for a reason, and it made me who I am. I'm strong. I'm a hard worker because I was raised by my mom, and I think I'm a lot different than the people that maybe grew up with two parents. It's just different. I've seen it, and it's not a bad thing. I think that's normal, right? Mm-hmm. To grow up with two parents, and I think it's a beautiful thing. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm a little different than the people who grew up with two parents. Like, I have a best friend who grew up with two parents, and I just feel like I look at life differently. I work harder, I think, because I want to be so independent, because I know that no one can do it like me. No one's going to take care of me. And not that I don't want a husband that's going to take care of me one day. And, I could be a stay-at-home mom. I would love to, but I don't know. I have this mentality like, no, I want to do it all by myself.
Yeah.
And even now I'm in a relationship, but I want my own money. Like, I want to do everything by myself.
What teaches you independence, right? I think it's in you, no matter what. So based on this and where you're at, and what do you think your expectations are now of a man? Whether it's in the relationship that you're in, or just what are things that are non-negotiable for you?
Well, I think before I expected way too much. My expectations were way too high. And, that's how you get hurt. It's how you get heartbroken, because when you have unrealistic expectations, and when you're looking for somebody to fix something that you can fix yourself,
or fill a void.
Yes, fill a void. It's just not gonna work out. And I definitely went through that. I think before, my expectations of a man were, to just love me, care for me, like just like unconditional, like a little overboard. Wanting
you mean
to
like the romantic.
Yeah, like kind of inseparable, do whatever I want, whatever I say.
Wow. What movie have you been watching?
No, but I my expectations were definitely not it before. They were not.
You wanted novela status?
Yeah, I wanted the Notebook type of love, yes. Love letters.
That damn movie ruined it for all of us.
Yeah, I wanted a guy to be so in love with me that it was just like, man, I know he's in love with me, where he's,
Yeah. Who doesn't want that? I mean,
no. Well, listen, let me elaborate. Like, I wanted, that guy to be the one to maybe post me on social media like, oh my God, I love this girl, or confess his love, like just show me off. I always expected a guy to show me off because I'm like, yeah, why not? Like I'm freaking amazing. Why wouldn't they show me off? But you know, not every guy is like that.
No.
And I've realized that because, you know, the relationship that I'm in, he's not very much like that. Like he doesn't feel like he has to do that stuff. But I always expected like, well, why wouldn't you? Why don't you?
Your agenda of what love looks like or you want.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's knowing the person too that you're with. Like if he's not like that, then why are you even like getting mad over it? You know, now my expectations of a man, I think, are definitely respect. Like if you don't respect me, like you're out. That's it. Like you're done.
That's a huge one.
Respect is number one because I have been disrespected before, and you know, I definitely dealt with like dumb stuff that I shouldn't have. Tolerating disrespect, like you ladies, you guys should never settle. That's something that I always tell myself, like never settle. If you feel like it's not right and you know that person isn't valuing you for who you are and what you're worth, it's just like, then why are you even there?
Right.
And definitely trust is a big one for me too. Is before I never used to trust. I don't know what it was. I think maybe that's another thing that came up.
Abandonment issues.
Yes, I definitely had the abandonment issues. Like I always was afraid for them to leave me, or if they went out with their friends, I'd be like, no, I wanted to suffocate them. And
okay.
No, like that's literally how I was. I was like, I don't want them to do anything. I want them to be with me. That's the truth. That's how I was. You know, I thought it was all about me. Like they should just be all about me, not want to do anything. And it's like, you know, you have to be your own person. And now that I've, you know, gone through things, I've worked on myself, I love being my own person. I love doing my own thing. And I love my boyfriend to do his own thing. Like I love my space, you know?
I think you've come to a not even just a place. Well, yeah, a place in your life where you are now an individual, where before maybe your version of a couple, it's like to be inseparable, like, you know, the novela status,
to be one.
To be one. But, you know, thank God, honestly, that you woke up from that, because it's not realistic. The best way to have an amazing relationship is being two people. Yes, you come together as one, right, as a couple. But the fact that you can honestly sit here and say, I feel, oh my God, I love being alone, right?
And I used to hate being alone. You have no idea. I couldn't even freaking go to the mall by myself. Like I always wanted people to be with me. Like there was just something, like I hated being alone. And now I absolutely love being alone. I don't really like to hang out with people. I feel like I just really love my own presence. Like I love doing things by myself. Like I can eat dinner by myself, no problem. I can go to the movies by myself, no problem. I mean, with quarantine we can't, but you know, I love being by myself. And I think it's important to find that enjoyment. Everybody should love being by themselves. Like I love going shopping by myself.
Yeah, and that's a scary thing, right? Like I mean, I enjoy doing that too. Whereas before I couldn't go. I had to go with somebody. It was weird. But now I think as you get older and then you enjoy, you know, not that it's stressful to go with someone else, but sometimes you just got to get it done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's kind of a hassle sometimes to go with other people. But I think also I realized that it wasn't serving my relationship and it wasn't serving me to be that way. Like to be, you know, clingy and all those things. I really think, like, now that I look back at it, you know, I realized that I caused a lot of problems, you know, being that way, or being jealous. Jealousy.
Needy, right?
Very needy, very jealous. And I hate for somebody to be like that with me. Imagine someone questioning, like, where are you? What are you doing? Like, where are you going? Well, why this? Why that? Like, I hate that. I hate being questioned. Who likes being questioned when you're not doing anything wrong?
Right.
So I think I just came to a realization that I love myself more like this. I just felt free. I don't know. I just feel more confident.
It's too complicated to be the other way, right? Too much work.
And you make yourself crazy. Honestly, ladies, if you're over there like wanting to check your man's phone every single night, because I used to be that girl, I would want to check his phone every single day.
What? But here's the thing. I think every girl, and depending on her background, right, or things that she's gone through, those are some things, maybe it was your trust issue, right? Not knowing that someone's going to be there. But see, again, this goes back to therapy. You will connect all the dots. Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I had trust issues. That's why I didn't want someone to leave me, right? Maybe you wanted to overly felt the love and the cling because that kind of would show you like, okay, I'm not leaving you. Mm-hmm. Right, but then it's
the all, security of it, yeah.
But do you agree now that nothing should be forced, especially in a relationship?
Yes, I definitely agree 110% on that. If they're not wanting to be with you or do certain things or just treat you with respect, then don't force it. Like that's their problem. Right. And just knowing like whose problem is it? Not mine. It's their problem.
That's my biggest motto.
Yeah. So I think it's important because why would you want a love that's forced? Mm-hmm. It just doesn't feel good to know like you're forcing someone to stay in a relationship. And, just the trust is number one. So again, it's respect, trust.
Those are huge ones.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, that's like getting to marriage, right? You have to obviously respect the other person. You have to trust them. I think sometimes, women in general, they kind of give up on that. Like they give up on, that respect, or they don't value themselves enough to know that they need to require that respect from the other person.
Yeah. And trust is really huge for me, especially because when I didn't trust the person that I was with, it made me go crazy. Like it's like kind of like I really lost myself, like going crazy. When you're over there constantly thinking like, what are they doing? Who are they talking to? And you make yourself crazy.
Right.
You have to know that you know who you are and what you bring to the table. Mm-hmm. And if they're over there cheating on you or doing whatever, then that's their problem. They lose out on you. And I think it's important to know that as a woman is knowing that, yes, knowing your worth, knowing that you're fucking amazing. Yeah. And that if they don't see it, then again, that's their problem. And that he's not meant for you. So why are you staying?
Exactly. So what do you think, for girls that are young, right? I think it's such a vulnerable age. I would say starting high school, right? Mm-hmm. And even beyond that, what do you think would be the best message to give them to not fall into that path of having trust issues when it comes to a relationship?
So message to younger women.
Yes.
To not get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
I think number one is doing whatever makes you happy. Stop waiting on others to validate. Like looking for validation everywhere else. I know social media.
No one can give it to you, right?
Yeah, I know social media is so huge right now, and Instagram. And I know like a lot of young girls are on TikTok and Instagram, and you see all these pretty girls and things like that. I think it's important to not compare yourself to and thinking like, oh, he's gonna like her, or just thinking those things. Stop thinking all those negative things. Know that you're beautiful, who you are, and don't change for anybody. And again, don't look for validation from anybody. You don't need that. And I think truly just doing what makes you happy and not looking to make other people happy is where you should start. Because when you do that and you don't care about what other people think of you, you truly feel happiness with yourself.
Right.
And I don't think you would get to that point if you truly feel happy. Yeah.
Well, I think the fulfillment, right? People have this distorted, way of thinking of happiness, that another individual has to make you happy, where,
no.
You need to be happy with who you are, where you are in life, where you're headed, and just like loving yourself, right? And then this person compliments you. They add to your happiness. Together, you create happiness. But someone cannot be the missing equation.
No, someone cannot make you happy. You got to make yourself happy first. I think, whoever thinks that, I used to think that way, and it's just, you got to stop thinking that way, because he's not going to pay he may pay your bills, but he's not going to give you purpose. Right. And I think that's huge to know. Like, we all
get lost wanting that.
Yeah, and we all want to know what our purpose is in life. Like, right. Honestly, that's what we all want to know, and that's why we feel excited about life, why we feel excited waking up every day. And when we know our purpose, we're excited to wake up every day and live life. And I think it's important to know that, a guy's not going to give you the purpose that you're going to have in this world. The
Never,
impact.
Ladies. Nunca. Jamás.
No. So, yeah, I think, anybody who's struggling right now and maybe in a relationship where you're not feeling good enough or you don't feel confident, it's just knowing you got to make yourself happy. Everybody do the work. If I think you should come to the next Gracefully Fierce.
I was just going to say that.
Yes. Next Gracefully Fierce. It is in June. June 25th. My birthday month.
June 25th and 26th.
Gemini season. Any of you Geminis out there?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Yes, ladies, work on yourself. If you have some of these issues or things that you're going through, it's important that you work on yourself, and let's get to the root of it. What's causing it? Something from your past, something you're holding on to right now. So let's really do something about it. Definitely.
Yes, and Gracefully Fierce is June 26th and the 27th.
Oh, sorry. I think I said the wrong date.
So I think, that's something I realized too at this past Gracefully Fierce is I got to keep going to these events. I got to keep investing in myself. People think that these things don't work. They do. Each time I'm at an event, like a self-improvement event, I really learn something new every single time. And I learn a lot of things from other people. And I think that's the beauty of going to these events is talking to other people, meeting new friends, and hearing everybody's stories. Like, everybody has different walks of life. And I think it's so amazing to hear everybody's story and knowing how they overcame everything that they've gone through
in life. A lot of
life.
Adversities, traumas, relationships.
Yeah. So I think everybody who's listening one thing is just to keep investing in yourself. And something that I've truly understood is loving myself. You hear that all the time, like, love yourself, pamper yourself, do this, do that. I truly know the meaning of that is because, like, I truly love myself. I'm in love with myself. And I'm not saying that in a conceited way.
No, and I think that's beautiful. That's amazing. I think every woman should get to the point where they can say that, right? It's, we grew up with this thing like, oh, a man's going to take care of you. A man's going to buy you this and buy you that and take you here and take you there. Why can't we spoil ourselves? Doesn't that feel great that you can spoil yourself?
Yes. I love spoil myself. I get my nails done, my eyelashes.
It, or you're waiting for someone to do it for you.
And if there's something different about doing it yourself, like being able to be like, here's my card, I got this. It's just, I don't know.
It's like, bam.
Yeah, like I'm badass. Yeah,
I love that. Me too. Okay, so then we talked about daddy issues. Well, why don't...
We talked a little bit about expectations, but we could talk about expectations maybe from other people.
Yeah, I think, again, it's a little related, right? You have these expectations of a father. I think you're at a point in your life, or, you've learned it from me, is expectations can either hurt you or help you, right? And I say it in
yes,
those...
I totally agree, and I know
right?
what you mean, yes.
Because, like, I have expectations of just, like you as my daughter, I want you to respect yourself and who you are out in the world. Like, I raised you to be, a good person, a kind person, a hard worker. That's an expectation that I have based on just the sacrifices, right? You have expectations from your partner, but the expectations of the other person, it's like if you're giving, right? And you want the other person to give the other 50%. Sometimes it doesn't happen. So it's getting rid of that expectation and knowing where that person is and also understanding, well, why do I have that expectation, right? Like my dad doesn't call me all the time. And before I'm like, well, dude, he's freaking older. He's the adult here. I mean, we both are, but he's my dad. But I can't fix that he doesn't. I can't have the expectation, well, he should call me. Him. Exactly. Like I'm his daughter. He should. It is what it is. Things that he's gone through. I don't know why. And maybe I'll never know why. But, I love him just for who he is. I have forgiven him. But I don't have any expectations of him, because that kind of puts you in an ugly position, because here you are with these expectations and then they don't show up. They don't fulfill those expectations. And who ends up losing? You do, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have those expectations of him anymore. And even when it comes to a professional, you have to understand that not everyone's the same. Everyone's personality is the same. Right. Because I know you're just like me in that way, right?
I struggle with that so much, is understanding why people are the way they are. And it's important. I know it is, but I struggle with it because I just grew up differently, and I'm different and everyone's different, but I'm different in the sense of like work. I really take work so serious because I enjoy working. I especially love the environment that I work in right now. And
you're better.
Yes, I work with my family, everybody. So, so I definitely have struggled with expectations from coworkers, people that I work with, everything, like my work environment, because I am somebody who I have a lot of urgency. That's one thing that it really, I guess I could say, irritates me sometimes. One of my pet peeves is when people aren't urgent. And I know not everybody's like that. I love that fast environment where I can I love figuring things out. I love just that environment of it being fast paced. And so, active. Very, we work in the mortgage industry. So anybody who works in the mortgage industry, real estate industry, you guys know how crazy it is, how crazy it can get, how many hours you have to put in. And, I'm willing to put the work in, and some people aren't. Right. And sometimes it's hard to understand, well, why are they like that? And I'm not like that just because, it's my family business. I've always been like that. I've always been the girl. I've always been the girl to work at 7:00 at night if I have to, come in earlier if I have to, work 7 to 7. Even at my old job, I was like an office manager, but I would work my ass off. And they even told me when I left, they're like, we knew you were too smart for this place. So it's just knowing how I am as an employee, it's hard to understand why people aren't like that. Number one thing we talk about, right, is resourceful. My mom, literally that word is stuck in my brain for the rest of my life, because my mom, since I could remember, has always said, be resourceful. If you guys don't know what that means, look it up, because you guys should know.
Your homework for the day.
You guys should know what that means. It's, just being able to figure things out on your own, or not being lazy and trying to have somebody else figure it out for you. Like, hey, where's this? Hey, how do I do this? Well, why don't you go and try to figure it out first before,
So is that a good thing? Are you glad I taught you that?
I'm so happy you taught me that.
A life tool.
Yeah, because honestly, I feel like you learn so much better like that, so much more, is by throwing yourself in situations and figuring it out. There's this book called Everything's Figure Outable, and it really stuck with me because it's so true. Everything is figure outable. Everything in life, stop focusing on the problem and let's look at the solution, figure it out.
Right.
And I feel like I've learned so much in this business because I've thrown myself in there and I've really just, figured it out. I've really just looked at what other people did and how they did it. I've looked at videos. I've done everything I could to not have someone show me and for me to figure it out on my own. So back to expectations, that's hard for me sometimes. I still struggle with that, but I know everybody's different. I know everybody goes through different things in their life that, they are who they are because of what they've gone through. And I've gotten a little bit better about that, but
it takes time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 47 and I still have to remind
I know,
myself.
you're like, what the hell? Why is this person like that?
Yeah. I think personalities have always triggered me or interested me, just based on.
That's funny because I wrote down that I want to start studying people psychology.
Yeah.
I really do, because I want to understand everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to say I was obsessed with it, but I had to change my major at one point because I had to understand things. I wanted to know why I was going through certain things in a relationship and just finding answers that I couldn't get anywhere else. So I loved that I studied psychology, and it just kind of put into perspective that people's personalities definitely come into play, and more some people are more susceptible to be a certain way than others. So that's huge. So, evaluate what expectations you have of the other person, and also, why do you have these expectations? I think that's the magic question. Why?
Because I was raised by my mother. No, just kidding. No, I know everybody's different. In work, it's different, but expectation. Let's talk about expectations of parents.
Oh God, I knew you wanted to sucker punch me right now, huh?
No, it's like you were talking about earlier, though, with your dad. It's like you don't have any expectations. I honestly feel now that I don't really have expectations of my parents, and my parents meaning you and Willy, because Willy is my father. He is my stepdad, but I think of him as my dad because he kind of took on that role, and I think I'm gonna cry right now, but
it's okay.
He's really taught me a lot, honestly.
I love that child. It's beautiful to hear you say that.
And I'm in this environment because of him, and it's like before I didn't understand him, and now I understand him, and I think it's such a beautiful thing to
you're sometimes Team Willy.
I think it's such a beautiful thing to like really connect with someone on a different level, and I think we have that. Like, I feel like he's my friend, and I could talk to him about certain things that maybe I don't feel comfortable talking to you about. And see, that's what I was always looking for, is that father-daughter relationship, and I have that now, so I'm super grateful.
Aww. You're gonna make me cry. He better listen to this podcast. I think sometimes, I feel that, again, back to the expectations, is we had the expectation of your own biological dad fulfilling that. But, this was life, and, this is the life that you have now. Of course, you have choices, but, thank God you have someone like him, that you can look up to, that can teach you. I think it was meant to be in that sense for you.
Yeah, I mean, I truly, truly believe like we are, things are meant for you. Where you're at in your life is meant to happen. I do feel like we do choose our own destiny. I really do believe that too. But, because of the choices we make, we know we get into certain situations. And I think that people in our life come and go for a reason. And the people that are in your life forever are meant for you. Yeah. And they're meant to stay there. And so, I never thought that you and Willy would ever make it this far, to be honest.
I didn't either. I did not either.
and it's crazy now how things are. We're just like a family, like how I always wanted a mom and dad. I have that now. Maybe I didn't grow up with it.
The stableness of it also, right?
But I have it. And I think now if you guys would ever break up, it'd be like I would be that kid who has had their parents and they're going through a divorce. I wouldn't know what to do. I would like freak out. I'd probably be so upset. But I'm super, super blessed to have both of you guys as my parents, because you guys are both inspiring, very, very inspiring. I've had you look up my whole life, and you being a hard worker and just always, taking care of me, no matter what it looked like, no matter what you had to do. It's like you always just loved us so much. So I appreciate you for that. And then now, like, we have Gracefully Fierce. You have this podcast, and you don't realize it, but it helps more than I think that it helps me in a lot of ways too. Is like it just helps me kind of figure myself out and grow in different ways in my life. And then Willy, like being in the mortgage industry, he's really, really helped me become a businesswoman. And, you know, I work in a business with a lot of men, and sometimes that's hard. It's intimidating at first. Like, all these guys think they know everything. But now I'm like, no, this and this and this and that, you know, like.
Who runs the world?
Girls.
we should have one of those buttons. Excuse me. Do we have one of those buttons? We need to get one done.
And he's really taught me a lot, and he inspired, like, Willy, if any of you guys know Willy, he's just constantly going, man. That man has so much energy.
I don't even think he sleeps when he actually lays down to sleep.
Yeah, and you know, he's every day, you know, I can tell when he's bothered or he's upset, but I feel like every day, for the most part, he's like, go, like, 100. Let's go. Like, he's excited to be here. He's excited to take on the day. Yeah. He's excited because he has a purpose in this world, and he knows that his role in life is so big, and a lot of people are looking up to him. So, you know, I see that every day, and I'm like, man, like, how does he do it? And he's older than me, and it inspires me to want to do more for myself. And I think that's great, honestly. Like, everybody, I love that I have him in my life and you in my life to push me to do more, to be more in my life. And I think everybody needs somebody like that. So if you feel like you don't have someone like that in your life, I think it's important, like I said, to go to these events. You'll meet those people. You know, you'll meet those. It's really important to have an amazing environment and to have people around you who only want to see you win, and who have nothing but positive energy, nothing but love for you, and somebody who calls you out on your bullshit.
Yeah,
you know,
which is rare, right? It's rare because, you know, especially in Latino families, and I say that because, of course, we're Latinos, but confrontation is like, oh, you know, you can't do that, or so-and-so is going to get mad, or they're not going to talk to me, they're not going to come over for Christmas, or something. You know, it's sad that, you know, we walk on eggshells when it comes to family, but we're so used to enabling each other. It's just part of just who we are. But it's good to change that. It's good to also expose yourself to different environments, things that you're not used to, getting someone to feed your brain. Like, I love saying that because it's true. It's, you only know what you know, you know, unless you're in a different environment like you, right? Or having Willy and myself in our roles that we have in life. What if we weren't like that? You know, how impactful would we have been in your life? You know, and think about it. You're 25. Like, you're going to completely take over maybe in the next 5 years. Yes, I'm going to
take over Gracefully Fierce, TMG, EMA, so get ready.
I know, right? For sure. And I think that's, you know, that's beautiful. You're our daughter, and who better to do that? But imagine the people that don't see a way out. It's I mean, I would feel like a caged bird if I didn't have a way out. But, you know, like, I think of you and other young girls, and it's a little frustrating. Like, I wish I could just give all the information to everyone that I know. And that's why, you know, Gracefully Fierce is so impactful, because when I was your age, I was a single mom with 2 kids at 23.
Yeah, and you definitely didn't know what you know now.
I knew nothing of what I know now. You know, of course, I went to, you know, a Catholic school. I went to college, but those things don't teach you what being in a Catholic school taught me is like, you know, just that tightness in friendship. And to me, it was my safe haven. Like, I felt, you know, kind of like a safety cloak over me being there, but didn't teach me about shifting, about knowing my worth, or knowing like there's nothing in this world that I cannot do. You know, those are things I had to learn on the way. And, you know, no one teaches you how to be brave. It's a decision. So I think that's what saved me more than anything, is knowing that I made the decision to be brave, and that you guys were, you know, obviously my why, but you were my purpose to make it in life.
And I think that if you didn't, you know, learn all those things in life, I would be a totally different person. I would be in a totally different place in my life. So I think it's super beautiful that, you know, you've gone through all those things. And you know, parents are supposed to teach you things, you know, things that you shouldn't do, things that you should do. And I've definitely learned a lot from you. And I'm super grateful for it, because I think I am going to be I think I'm amazing now, but I think I'm going to be more amazing, when I'm your age. And I think I'm going to be an amazing mother. I think I'm going to be an amazing businesswoman. And because I know that I'm destined for greatness. I know that I have a purpose in this world where I want to impact lives. I want to, now being in this environment, it's like, I don't want to say addicting, but it just like, it just feels so good.
It's fulfilling.
You feel you're on a high when you're helping people. Yeah. And I remember since I was little, I've always wanted to help people. Like I loved animals so much. Like I've always been such a caring person, a very loving person. And so I never knew what it was going to look like. I just knew I wanted to help people. And I always used to say, I want to travel around the world and help people. I don't know exactly what that might look like, but I want to do that. And I know that I don't know what it's going to look like in the future, but I'm going to do that.
Yeah. And I think because you're passionate about it, it will happen. But I think a good message to give out is that if you are that person that wants to help people, it's not in only one field. You are helping people. Like, you're helping people with their mortgages. You're helping young girls feel better about themselves. You're empowering just, based on your story. Like I always say, your story is your power because it's powerful. You can impact someone. And your story or this ugly page or this ugly chapter of your life can mean the best chapter of somebody else's life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's just hearing you, knowing what you went through or what you have overcome can help the next person or one more girl. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I think my personality also brings a little spice to it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's going to move us on to being genuine, which is one of my ultimate favorites. Like today, Elizabeth, that's part of our part of our team Pasadena here. She posted something and I was like, wow. I think, and it's not only in this industry, I think it's in any industry. It's just in life, right? It's so hard to trust people, and because of social media and just the media, like what did people do before? It's like you knew your neighbor or you had trust in someone at the school. Things have changed so much that not trusting has been instilled with us. In everyone.
Yeah, it's super hard.
That for someone to post that, oh my God, they're real. Are they really this real?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it not only justifies, but it solidifies what we're doing. Because I know we're impacting people just being genuine, being real. And the fact that she actually messaged someone that that's also part of our team. Like, are they seriously real, or is it just
really
social media?
Like this? Yeah.
And it's sad in a way because you do have that social media persona that has this image, but they really aren't that way. And I'm
because I've already met people like on social media. They're night and day. When you meet them in person, it's like,
whoa, are you the same person?
Who are you? I met a girl actually.
You met the filter, not the person.
Yeah, I met a girl on social media. She was always like super positive, and I met her one time in person, and she was, I don't know, I don't even know how to explain it, but it was just night and day. It's crazy. It's really hard to come across genuine people, and I've told Emily this 1,000 times. Like if it's something like I genuinely do not want to do, or genuinely coming from my heart, I don't want to do it. It just doesn't feel right for me.
It's like forced.
Yeah. So, I mean, going back to what Elizabeth said about you guys, how shocked she was. And I think that, again, it's really hard to come across genuine people, and it's really sad. I think there's a lot of takers in this world, and
a lot, especially
it's hard.
Right now.
It's hard to find the giver, and that's why it's so important to surround yourself with the right people. It really is. And I learned that being in this environment that we are in, because I know too in the mortgage industry there's a lot of sharks out here, and a lot of people that will go behind your back and do shady things, and it sucks, and it's really hard to kind of know firsthand like how this person's going to be. I've
seen it takes 7 seconds to to kind of know what kind of person, or a first impression Takes 7 seconds to form an impression.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very little if you think about it, if you count 7 seconds.
Yeah. Because some people are really good at making you believe there's some way when they're really not. And that's what's hard, because I've seen it here when we've hired people, and, you know, when people don't last here, it's kind of like, dang, like I didn't know they would be like this.
Yeah.
You know, they're so good at like deceiving you and like making you to believe like they're a good person, they're a genuine person, they're, you know, they're an ethical person. So I think being genuine and ethical are so important.
Top notch.
Yeah, definitely it should be a non-negotiable for the people that you have in your life.
In your life and personal. Those are huge.
Well, yeah, like in your life in general.
Yeah.
You know, even work environment, you would be surprised, but your work environment could really affect you. I think
100%.
the work environment that we have right now is... it's amazing. Like, I'm so grateful to be in this environment. Like, I cry already again. Aww. Because I really love the people that I work with. Do
we have a little crying button?
I'm super emotional, everybody, but that's just me. Not that one. That one's sad. No, Emily, that one's not good. No, but I just feel so like... I always say this. I randomly, like, Emily knows, and Jose and Jesus, I'm always like, man, I love the people that are in my life. I'm so blessed. Like, I could cry about everybody that's in my life, because I truly, like, can say right now in my life that I have amazing people, genuine people. And I feel so lucky, like, to know that I have, like, so much love in my life. You know, people that truly love me, genuine, unconditionally. And that's, like, really, really hard to find.
Very. But do you agree also that it's a choice?
Yeah.
To have that around you, right? Because you could have easily said, oh my God, I can't leave my job. I don't know anything about mortgages. I don't want you to be my boss. You could have had that mentality, or, you know, just this notion like, I don't want to work. I don't want you to be my boss.
Yeah.
Right?
And that definitely went through my head when, you know, I thought, okay, I'm going to work with them. Like, oh shit, I'm going to work with my family. Like, that's going to be hard. People say a lot of kind of horror stories about working with their family. And I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, who wouldn't want to work with family? But again, I know, you know, family can be also toxic, but I don't feel like you guys are.
No, we are not, definitely.
So, yeah, I mean, I love it. Of course, it's hard sometimes. Sometimes, like, you guys can get on my nerves, and that's just truth.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now let's do that. Wah, wah, wah. What is that one called? Push that one. Push it now. Wow.
I know, but anyways. No, but I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. I just feel so lucky to be where I'm at and to be working with my family. And again, it's so important to be genuine yourself. You can't expect for other people to be genuine with you if you're not. Like how they say,
you cannot be a shitty person.
No, it's like treat others how you want to be treated. And that's so true. So true. It's like, why would you want someone to be, you know, super nice to you, you know, like genuinely a nice person, and you're not going to be? It's like, even the way you talk to somebody, how you talk to somebody.
So obvious too.
Oh my God, it's so important.
So then you know, you're young, right? And you've just been exposed to this life. I don't want to say life, but, you know, a different environment. Mm-hmm. You know, there is fake, and I'm sure you've come across it. Mm-hmm. You know, you're so young, right? And I know we talked about it, Gracefully Fierce. I feel there's no age for leadership. That's me personally. Mm-hmm. You could be 19 and stand up and be like, fuck. Now, I know she's a leader. Mm-hmm. Like, you're 25. I know you're a leader. What do you do in that situation? Because for me, you know, I've always known I had leadership in me. I've never been a follower. And, you know, before I just kind of was like out in the stands just based on my position or things like that. But now it is practice, and it is something so powerful to be in a situation for you to be able to walk away. Like, that's like, damn.
Yeah, I think I've been in a lot of those situations, actually, especially with work. It's hard. And I talked about this at Gracefully Fierce. You know, how do you handle it when someone's being so, like,
Catty.
Yeah, catty, rude, disrespectful,
Obnoxious.
and just all those things. How do you handle it? Like, how do you not lose your shit and literally like, be like, F you, feed back, and I think what's really helped me, honestly, is just knowing, like, not that I'm better than them, but like, I'm better than this as a person. Like, I shouldn't stoop too low. Like, I shouldn't stoop to their level. Mm-hmm. They're having an issue. Maybe they're having a bad day. So don't let that affect me. I hardly let anything affect me when it comes to other people and how they treat me. Again, it's really hard. I struggle with it still, but it's just knowing that it's like, dude, that's their problem. Exactly. Is this? Whose problem? It's theirs. And when people are being mean to you or rude or disrespectful, it's just like
a reflection of them or
where they're at. And knowing that if you get sucked in and you respond, you're only making yourself upset.
You just give your power away.
Like, even as simple as so the other day I was at Starbucks and this lady was just being so rude. Like, she was not being nice. And I'm huge on customer service because I've been in the customer service industry. I still am. I have, and I think it's so important. Even a McDonald's worker, if you're rude to me, I'm like, what the hell? Like, I don't want to eat this food. Yeah. It makes you not want to order from there or go back to that certain one. And so I think customer service is super, super big. So this lady, she was being rude. She was like, okay, anything else? Like, just, I don't know.
Not
I don't
even eye contact. No. Nothing, right? Yeah,
she's like, I know. Like, don't say Say, okay, yeah, sure. What do you need? I don't know. Words, again, are so powerful.
There is no customer service school. Let's work on this.
So this lady, she was being rude, and I was so close to saying, do you have a problem? Do you want to work here? I was so close, and I know you have done that before. My mom's guilty of that, but
I haven't. I'll tell you guys why.
Okay. But I was so close, but I was like, you know what? No, I was starting to feel my blood boiling. I was starting to feel me getting upset, and I was like,
my child.
And I was just like, no, you know what? Like, she's working here. She's upset. She's unhappy with wherever she's at in her life. That's, again, that's her problem. Right. That's a reflection of how she feels right now in her life. Whenever people are being rude or like mean to you or saying comments to you and like being hateful towards you, it's because they're unhappy with where they're at, and they're not where you're at, and so they're kind of like jealous a little bit. They call them haters, right?
Well, they can rain on your happy.
Exactly.
No one should rain on your happy.
So I didn't say anything because literally in the split second, I thought to myself, okay, Ashley. I talk to myself all the time. Okay, I think it's so important. This is literally what I said in my head. I said, okay, Ashley, if you say something, like, what is that going to do for you?
Yeah.
Is it going to help you in any way? Is it going to make you happy saying anything? You're probably going to make her feel shitty too, even more shittier than she feels. Yeah, because for saying this comments, I was like, it's not worth it. It's literally, I know there's like the 5-second rule. I forgot, what's her name? Mel Robbins. She says a 5-second rule. So I kind of do that, but in my own way, I just like literally for a split second think to myself, is this worth it? So
yeah, it's checking yourself, right? Yeah. It's as simple as checking yourself
and
shifting, which is my favorite ultimate word. Shift. You have to learn how to shift and check yourself, right? But as you said that, I remember it. It's you're in a good mood, you're in a good place, and people can like shut it down instantaneously. And I remember it was through a drive-through, right? You guys were little, and the lady never looked at me. Was being mean. And I was like, well, good morning to you too. If you're not happy working here, then get another job, because sometimes
it's true.
Sometimes people are bitter, right? Then, I love saying, are you going to get bitter or better? So change your situation, right? But again, it has to do with your knowledge, what you know, who you know, where you want to be, what you want to do. Because, I've had a shitty job, but I still gave good customer service. Sometimes it's who you are as a person, I think. And I'm a believer in that. It's either you have it or you don't. That's just me.
I got it.
Like ethics. Either you have it or you don't.
And again, that's really hard to find. It's crazy.
It is. That's why we're so strict here at our branch in Pasadena is ethics. your genuineness, it has to, like, you've got to radiate that to be part of our team. Yeah. For sure. We won't tolerate it because it trickles down and I've learned so much about culture and what that culture does, right? The culture starts with Willy and myself. Yeah. Imagine if we'd walk in here bitter and mad and this and that. It's like...
Then we'd all kind of be like that.
Yeah. You feed off automatically as a human being. Just our human behavior is you feed off of other people, the energy in the room. Yeah. Right? How totally people are coming, or if someone comes in, well, what's wrong? Or, if one of the team members is not being as cheery as they were the day before, like, what's going on? What's wrong? It's like, you get used to.
I totally agree. Energy, you can totally feed off people's energy. Like, whenever we walk in, if they don't say good morning to me, Emily knows. I'm like, good morning. Because I come in here, I would like to say I come in here the same every day. Obviously, some days are better than others, but I really leave my BS at the door. What did she say? I truly leave my BS at the door, and I'm like, okay, whatever I feel right now, I'm going to leave it here because it's important for me to be that person who comes with good energy, because maybe when one of my coworkers can be having like a bad day, and I might help them by my energy being so like, good and happy and all these things, because they might be like, oh wow, like when I come to work, I literally think of it as like my getaway place. I love work. I honestly love the people I work with. And sometimes
honey, you better be hearing this.
Sometimes when I'm having a bad day, I'm like, man, I like can't wait to go to work. I wake up and I'm like, I can't wait to go to work. Sometimes I'm like, okay, maybe I don't want to work on alone today, but I want to see these people, and their energy is important to me too. If they're not feeling as good, I want to know why. I bug them all the time, like, what's wrong? And I always tell Emily, like, what's wrong with you? And because I don't like it.
You tell them to go back out the door and come back in?
I always say, like, can you walk outside the door and come back in? Because I need your energy. Your energy is not it. I tell them, I'm like, your energy is not it right now. Because like you could feel it. You just, and it's so important to.
Sensing, right?
Yeah. And not to say that everyone's going to have a good day every day. Everyone's going to have some bad days. But I think it's important to, always try to be that person that's the bubbly person in the room,
we always need one of those.
Yeah, and I think that's me.
That's your title. Let's add it to your title. So let's see. We had some questions, right, that some of our followers had. Do you want to answer those, or should we move on to confidence?
Let's talk about confidence first, and then we'll answer the questions, because I think it's important.
Definitely. So I think confidence is, another one of my big reasons why I started Gracefully Fierce. I've always been a confident person. But once I left my career, I left it all. I left my confidence, my power, you name it, my worth with the job. I think, coming on to this new field really put me in a funk, in a place where I didn't understand. Someone just replied, go live on IG. We will soon. It really took me to, I don't want to say a dark place.
Why don't we go live for a little bit?
Let's see. I think it took me to a dark place that I didn't have anyone to get me out of it, or I didn't know better.
I remember. Do you remember when I texted you that one day?
When?
I text you, I don't know. I felt it too. Remember when you wanted to start the podcast and Gracefully Fierce, and I was like, oh, it was your first Gracefully Fierce. And I was like, you really need to do this, because I feel like you need to do this for yourself. I feel like you're the person who needs to feel like you have your own thing. You've always been independent. So not having that and not feeling like you had like a role here, or, like you weren't doing something on your own. I was like, Mom, I really need you to do this for yourself. You don't remember?
Yeah, no,
I
do.
And I said, because, I feel like you're unhappy right now. And I feel like this is something that you need right now. And so I know exactly when that moment was. So
my aha moment. The first 2 years were really hard for me. I'd cry all the time. I lost my confidence like in a split second.
I think we all lose it sometimes.
Yeah.
We all have.
But we have the power to get out of it, right? That's why I always say, not depression, because that's seriously, you need to get diagnosed with depression. But I was in a really bad funk. And the only person that can get me out of it was myself. Knowing that my worth, knowing that I'm powerful, knowing what I bring to the table. Like,
yes.
I woke up and got my mojo back. But I love it. I think as women, we could be anything we want to be, but it's how bad you want it, or being tired of being tired. Like, what the fuck just happened to me? Mm-hmm. Like, I lost myself. I was that girl that can do anything regardless. And that's why one of my favorite quotes is, she made broken look beautiful. No one knew how fucking broken I was for a very long time, because I made it look good. Whether I was happy, whether it was the job that I was doing, and I didn't look like I was in a funk. Physically, I just didn't. I didn't act it mentally. I just knew how to shut it off. So I think confidence is huge. It's up there with like a priority of being a woman.
Yeah, and it's something that you constantly need to be working on, because so many things can dim your confidence, as like maybe feeling humiliated. Maybe you put yourself out there. Maybe I don't know, and it could be anything. Maybe you I don't know, go on IG Live and people are making mean comments, saying mean things about you, like, oh, you look funny, or oh, this and that, you sound stupid, things like that. That can easily make someone feel not confident. And it's just working on it. And it's like just knowing, like, not letting other people affect you. And I know it's hard to get to the point where you literally don't give a shit what other people think. But once you get to that moment, it's like you feel so free. You're
limitless when you get to that point.
You feel like on top of the world, like nothing in the world can stop you from doing anything or being anything you want to be. And so again, confidence is something like you can't just say like, oh, I'm confident. Like today, I'm confident. It's something that you have to work on. You have to put work into being confident. It takes action. I think confidence is action.
Of course. And it's not just body image.
No.
Right?
No. So it takes a lot. So something that has helped me with confidence is, putting makeup on. I know like it's not something huge, but it's putting makeup on, like looking in the mirror and being like, dang, I look cute.
Be proud. Have pride in who you are. What did you say again?
I look cute, huh?
Silly.
I ask if anybody who went to Gracefully Fierce, they know that I always ask my mom every time I'm on FaceTime, or I tell Emily, I'm like, I look cute, huh? And it's like, and then I always say, I know. But so something that's helped me with confidence is just me personally feeling like I look good, like, oh, I look cute today, putting on the pair of heels,
putting on pride to take care of yourself, to look good.
Yes, exactly. So if you wake up and you literally just shower and brush your teeth and that's it, you're not going to feel good. Go
back in the room and
don't like literally. So something that I've been doing lately that I've been enjoying and I hadn't done and I've always wanted to is, so every time I shower, like in the morning, so I shower before work all the time, I lather myself with cream all over my body. I've been using something called bio oil with cream, and I've always been like, so like I want to be that girl who's like always putting lotion on, glowing, and I never did. Yeah, and so literally every day I've been doing that. That's something like a non-negotiable for me. Like I feel good, I feel clean, I feel like
self-care.
I smell. Yeah, self-care is super important in confidence. I think that's huge. Getting my hair done, like I had gray hairs, like I got my hair done and I felt like a bad bitch after. and getting my nails done, that's something that I do. So yeah, again, self-care is something that helps me with confidence
those little
a lot.
Things, right?
Yeah, definitely the little things, going to get a massage, just feeling like you're pampering yourself, I think helps with confidence, but it doesn't stop there. I said this at Gracefully Fierce. It's doing things that make you feel uncomfortable. It's taking risks. And when you overcome those, those things that you were scared of, you gain this kind of confidence that it's crazy that you never, you feel like a different person.
You walk different, right?
Even people will know. Yeah, I feel like you guys might have noticed even after I felt so...
You're glowing.
Yeah, I felt so good after Gracefully Fierce because I was scared to get on the stage. I was freaking...
It didn't seem like it.
I was so nervous. I had to talk to myself like, Ashley, you got this, you got this, you got this. Like, don't worry about what people are thinking or looking at. Because I've always been someone to think like, do I look cute enough? Do I sound funny? And like, am I talking right? Things like that. Like, I've always been so in my head about a lot of things of what other people are thinking. Mm-hmm. So before I went up, I told myself, don't give a shit about what anybody thinks. Like, just go up there and just talk and deliver your message. Like, what do you want to say? What do you want to share? Right. And so after that, I literally felt so powerful in a good way. I felt powerful that like I can do anything, that I just felt on top of the world after. So I think it's important to get out of your comfort zone to gain that confidence, because if you're someone who always constantly thinks like, oh, like I want to do this, like something that I've been wanting to do, and I keep saying that I got to do it. I want to do YouTube, but I'm scared. And I feel like when I do it, I feel like I'm going to gain a little bit more confidence. And it's like I add to my confidence every single time.
Well, the fear doesn't exist, right? Like YouTube's not going to come bite you or punch you. Mm-hmm. You getting on stage, like once you were up there, were you like, oh, this isn't so bad?
Yeah.
I mean, I think confidence is a choice, right? Like you said, it's an action you have to take every day, because we're not the same every single day. You might wake up today and feel this way, but it's talking to yourself. It's telling yourself, you've got this, you can do anything. So for the ladies or even men that are listening, because it goes both ways, both genders, confidence is who you believe you are, what you believe about yourself, right? The conversations you have within yourself in your own head. It's no one gives you confidence. You having a nice body doesn't mean that gives you confidence, because trust me, there's so many girls that have done so much to themselves because they thought that was the ticket. They thought that was the result, and they're still not happy, because that comes from within and it's on the inside. Because physically, it's just on the outside, right? It's like anything, like you see a pretty flower, you like it, but it might be dead inside, or gosh, maybe I'm not using the right metaphors, but you know what I mean? It's just an image, kind of like a costume. You decided to go put this on to mask. Exactly. But something is still wrong. So,
because confidence, people think confidence is like how you walk, how you talk, but confidence is really what's inside. It really is. It comes from inside. It's how you feel, and then you portray that confidence, right? So it comes from inside, and then you portray that confidence, and that's when people are like, oh wow, she's confident,
right?
And when people say like, oh my God, you're so confident. Yeah, but it took me a while to get there. It took me a really long time, and I had to get off of Instagram. I had to do all kinds of things to not let those things get to me. And I think something that's super important, because I know, again, social media is big, and something that I want to touch on is, I know there's like all these Instagram models. You see, the image right now is a small waist and the big butt or the big lips and all of that, right? And there's nothing wrong with that at all. But it's like, you can't...
It's unrealistic.
Yeah, and you can't... Exactly. You have to know it's not realistic. And also that, if you want to look like that, okay, then go look like that. If you truly want to look like that. But it's knowing like not everybody looks the same.
No.
There's so many beautiful women in this world, and it's appreciating that women are so beautiful. We are truly, like, I think the most beautiful
creatures on earth.
Yes. and it's like, be the girl who compliments that girl. Like, don't just be like, oh my God, she's so pretty. Be that girl like, oh my God, you're really pretty.
Yeah. Well, not be jealous, right? But be confident within yourself that you could tell another woman they're pretty or they look amazing.
Yeah. And it's and pretty doesn't mean just a pretty face. It means you got to be pretty inside, because if she's looking pretty but she's not
on the inside, she is not pretty.
Yes, exactly. and a lot of people know that when you meet a really like a beautiful person and they're just like mean or bitchy or whatever,
it takes it away.
It's crazy. It's like, I know that I'm so beautiful because I look beautiful, and I also am beautiful inside.
Let's all clap for that one for sure. See, I love that. That confidence is, it's that energy that you have about it, like you own it. You're not just saying you are, you own it, right? And I think it should God, what's the word? It should be like a magnet. People should be attracted to something like that.
And that's something that I realized too in life is like, if I truly feel confident and I'm portraying that I'm confident and I'm happy and I'm bringing this good energy, I'm literally going to attract that. Like, this is why I have amazing people in my life, because of who I am. You know, I have all these great people in my life because I am a genuine person, because I'm confident in who I am and what I bring to the table.
You attract who you are, right?
Exactly. And also, one thing that I want to say about body image, because I've been struggling with that because, you know, I gained weight and I'm not as small as I used to be, but it's like, how am I changing that? You know, if you're not happy with the way your body is, then go work out. Eat healthier. Stop eating those hot Cheetos. Stop eating those hamburgers.
And the answer is not just surgery.
No, exactly. And if you want to do that, that's okay. I have nothing against surgery. I think, you know, that's cool if you want to do that. But, you know, for me, it's something that, you know, I know I just need to work out. I know I just need to have a healthier lifestyle. And so if you're not happy with where you're at in life or how you're looking right now, it's, what are you doing about it? And it's like, you're the only person who can change that. So get up and do something about it. You know, stop saying like, oh, I look fat, or oh, this, that. Okay, well, if
taking action, right?
Yeah, take action, take responsibility. You made yourself look like that. You're eating the hot Cheetos and the hamburgers, and you gain the weight because you're doing that. And it's like
tacos and the tortas.
Yeah, and like Jessica said at Gracefully Fierce, it's like, you know, it's about feeling good. It's not just about looking good. So
exactly. I love that. You know, so one of our questions was self-confidence for teen girls. Oh my God, that's an amazing one. And we are working on a Teen Gracefully Fierce. So it is TBD, to be determined. It will happen very soon. It will happen this year, I promise. So self-confidence for teen girls. So how or what can parents say or do to not let them get influenced? The power of influence is huge. So, I mean, being a teen, like, it's so vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
You're in a really tough situation.
You're like a sponge. Even though they say little kids are like that, you're still a sponge when you're a teen. So you want to answer that one?
Yeah, I think for me, gosh, when I was in high school, I was very quiet. I came from a small school, and it was only with my friends from my elementary school that I was hanging out. But I always, again, you know, I was going through stuff. You know, my dad left when I was 15. And I thought, well, why am I not like popular? Why am I not with the popular girls? Because I was quiet. I was, you know, a little sheltered. So I think I kind of came onto this role, like, I want to be popular. So I started acting different. I started being fun and doing sports and kind of getting out there and making myself known. I think that's what happened to me. I feel that I lost, or I kind of put away who Christine really was, you know, to fit in.
Yep.
To gain that attention, because I felt alone and lost.
Yeah. And I think you hit it right on the spot is fitting in. I feel like I was in high school just yesterday, even though it's been a while, but that's something that I struggled with. And I think that's it. Every girl or boy who's in high school, they just want to fit in. You want to feel liked. You want everybody to like you. That's literally all you care about in high school. That's all I cared about in high school, is being liked. So you do things to get liked, right? You do things that the cool people are doing, what they're doing. They're partying, they're drinking, they're doing all these things. And you lose yourself. You're not being who you are or who you're meant to be, because you're caring so much about what other people think of you.
I agree.
And so,
it's easy to get lost.
How do you tell a teen that? Because I feel like when I was younger, if you told me this, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, mom.
Well, it's hard, but it's instilling, right? It's like you planting the seed, because I obviously planted the seeds. It's kind of when you're ready, but also, you know, being an advocate, but also taking a stand for your kids, right? You know, or if you had friends that I knew were a bad influence, well, what do you think I would have done? Like, you can't hang out with them. I mean, it is what it is. You have to make it hard for your kids in a good way. Like, you know, if you want to call it tough love, because sometimes parents, we just want to fulfill, we want to make, you know, kids happy, especially teens. We don't want them to get edgy or, you know, grumpy, or it's like, as a parent, you know, sometimes our own guilt takes over and we're just trying to fix things. I think it's important that if you have the information now, why wait till it gets worse? You know, talk to your teen about, you know, that confidence in not giving up their individuality to fit in, because that's not real life, right? When you go out into the real world, you're not going to fit in everywhere. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's impossible to fit into everything and anything. You've got to stand out as an individual. And if we don't change that as parents now, I mean, that's our job. What are we doing for the future, for the girls, right? How are they going to take on the world if, you know, they're being fulfilled by their peers? I think that's,
yeah. And
our role is huge.
I think it's important to also have the conversation with your daughters about boys,
Yeah.
and things like that, because I think that's really important, because growing up, when I was in high school, all I wanted was a boyfriend. I wanted boys to like me. You know, I wanted to go to co-ed school because boys were there. I just wanted a boyfriend. I wanted all the boys to like me.
Pinche boys.
Yeah.
Why
And
do
I
they
was
exist?
boy crazy. And so again, it's hard to, I feel like it's really hard to get to a teen. You know, I think at that age, it's like they say they have identity crisis.
They sure do.
Yeah, it's like they don't know who they are, or
they're trying
who
to
they want to figure themselves out. So it's hard, but I think it's also like talking about boys, like, you know, not all boys are gonna like you, and that's okay. And also just kind of, I think, words of affirmation to your daughters, I think, is important. Like, you're so beautiful.
Being an
You're
example
this,
too,
exactly.
right? Because if I'm a mom who was so like caught up on myself, the way that I looked, and it's kind of like an image, right? Because you know, I mean, I would get ready to go to work, but I didn't give you that image that you have to look good, you have to this, and you have to that. If not, someone's not going to like you. I didn't. I know I didn't do that. So also, as a parent, who are you being as a woman?
Yes.
Because it's going to trickle down to your daughter. If you're a mother that, you know, has all these expectations, and, you know, you have to look hot and you have to do this, right? And everybody's version of that is different. I'm not saying yours is bad or not, but think of who's watching you. Your daughter's watching you. So I think that's huge also.
Yes.
In the giving that the self-confidence, and put them in things. Sports are amazing. I think, you know, it's a huge outlet, not because you have this coach that's mentoring you, because that's mentorship starts in coaching, right? You have to see it that way. But it's discipline. It's believing in yourself, the structure, a commitment, and knowing like, okay, I'm the goalie. I'm obviously good, right? So you have to know that you're good. So you're confident. That
goes back to doing things out of your comfort zone. Push your kids to do things that make them uncomfortable. Put them in activities, because or find something that, like, you know, your kid likes to draw. Then put them in art classes, because that's going to help them gain some confidence, because knowing that they can, you know, draw this Picasso painting or whatever it may be, like, it's just, you know, when I was in sports, and when people told me like, oh my God, that was such an amazing game, blah, 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 you know, that made me feel good.
Yeah, I love that. I also think that sometimes, you know, kids are going to be in those situations where, you know, hopefully, and you know, they know how to get out and know what's right from wrong, right? It's how we're raising them, and, you know, the power of influence, who you have them around. I think that's key. Who's your circle? You know, or when you're with family, how is that family impacting your children? I think that's key to all of this too. And if there is that one person that is influencing your teenager in the wrong way, then that's time for you to step up as a parent, and you need to figure that out, and how to end that. That's important too, because at one point you might not think you're doing the right thing, but it does come back to you. And, you know, when your kids grow up, they're going to turn around and say, thank you. I know they will. You're watching out for them for what they can't see right now. So our next question is, oh my gosh, this is going to be a hard one. Was there a moment where you felt you had failed your children? Wow. Why and when? Oh my God, no one has ever asked me this question, Jocelyn. Oh my gosh. You know, this is going to be really, really tough on me, but it's okay. So,
you got this, Mom.
I know. I felt I failed my kids. Oh my gosh. You know, I didn't feel like I failed them when I decided to become a single mom, but I felt I failed them when I knew the things they were lacking. You know, for example, having a 2-parent household, you know, going on vacation, like, you know, most families were going. And when I had to move, like when I couldn't financially get it together, I think that was the biggest one. I didn't have anyone to teach me or a guidance on, you know, let's figure this out. How can you do better? How can you handle this better? I felt like a loser. I felt like, you know, not that I ruined their life, but oh my God. I didn't want them to feel different, you know, and I did whatever I could to give them things so they wouldn't feel different. You know, I used to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. You know, I wanted them to have Christmas. I wanted them to have, you know, a nice birthday gift. But, you know, if you asked them, they were happy. They didn't at any point feel they were different or underprivileged in some way or somehow. But, you know, if you ask Ashley, like, she'll say something different than my son will. You know, and I think financially it can kind of make you feel belittled. It can make you feel like you're nobody. So I think it's important to not ever make anyone feel that way for not having enough money. I didn't want my kids to, you know, I didn't want to fail them in the sense that I gave them a bad image of money, right? Like, we don't have it. We're just not going to have it. So I think, to me, that's how I felt I failed them, that I didn't have the 2-parent household, that I didn't have enough money for everything. You know, sometimes, you know, my phone got cut off. Sometimes electricity got cut off. You know, they were the kids who always got called into the office when it came to exams and finals. You know, they don't let your kids take their finals if you have a balance. So I think for me, that's when I felt I failed them. Like, I didn't want them to look at me, or just for me to have to look at their face when they would be turned away really killed me. You know, when they wanted certain things, and the first thing I would think, oh, how the fuck am I going to do that? Gosh, that's the way that I felt I failed. I failed them by not having it together in financially, right? And not being able to have that 2-parent household that, you know, they always had around, or, you know, vacations and this and that. I didn't want them to hate me for not giving them those things, right? And again,
you never did.
You know, it affected, you know, Ashley, or, you know, it affected you different than it did to Ed, right?
Yeah.
I think with Ed, he was maybe 7th, 8th grade. You know, I remember we were on the freeway driving to your auntie's house, your cousin's, and he just was like, me estaba reclamando, like, well, why don't we go on vacation? I'm like, well, what do you mean? And I lashed out. I remember I was so mad at him, like, fuck, I can't take you on vacation. I can't. You know, and he's like, why can't we? When my friends do this and my friends, because I felt like a loser. I felt like, you know, I hated the way that he was being about it. And my way of covering it was I was just mad at him, you know, and fuck. Why does this hurt? I just hate that he felt that way, right? Or he wouldn't want to ask me for things when it came to sports because, you know, I remember buying sports equipment at Play It Again Sports because I couldn't, you know, afford certain things. But, you know, I love, yeah, I might have failed you guys in that way, but you always had food. You always had a place to live. You know, nothing was ever perfect, but I was just doing what I could.
It's crazy that you're talking about this because this was like a huge topic at Gracefully Fierce. You know, I let everybody know that you're not failing as a mother. My mom did not fail as a mother. You know, she did what she could with what she had, and I think she did amazing at it. And if anything, it only taught me a lot in life, and it's made me really strong. It's made me a chingona. Like, it's made me want those things. Like, I remember since being little, like, I wouldn't ask for certain things because I knew it'd be a no, or and not in a bad way. It's just like I knew I knew not to really ask my mom. Like, I knew my mom was by herself. I was very aware that my mom was a single mom and she hustled. Like,
I think I invented the word hustle, by the way.
She really hustled to be able to, like,
my picture should be in the dictionary for hustle.
To be able to put your kids through private school from kinder all the way till 12th grade, like, dang, like, is my mom a badass or what? Can we get some clapping hands for that? So, you know, I think that I was really aware. I think maybe that's where I was different in the sense where I was just like, you know, I don't want my mom to feel bad. I don't want my mom to think that she's not a good mom. You know, you're an amazing mom. And I think I gave it to you in my teen years anyways, but I was the bad child.
Oh my God.
I was the wild child. I always have been. I've always been very, how do I say it? What would you say I was?
Rebelde.
Yes, I was just like, I just wanted to be free. I've always wanted to be independent, but that's my mom's fault. She, you know, she's always showed me independence and she's taught me so much. And I think that if anything, she should be the most proud mom in the whole entire world to see where her kids are right now. You know, my brother, he's gonna get his master's degree. Like, he's a smart
data science. Can we get a clap for data science? My little scientist.
And it's crazy because I always felt like my mom compared me to my brother because he was a smart one. He was.
Well, you were smart too.
No, but you know,
you are smart.
No, I got good grades, but I was, like she said, I was a little bit rebellious. And my brother was the type to stay in his room and play video games and study. And that's all he ever did. He didn't want to go party.
He'd read.
Yeah, he'd read. He didn't want to go party like me. He didn't want to hang out with his friends. I mean, he did, but
different personalities. Same household, different personalities.
I was the outgoing, bubbly one. You know, I always wanted to do things. I always wanted to be out. I never wanted to be home.
Never. You're my free child.
Yeah, so
wild child.
I don't want you to ever think that you failed because you didn't. You know, you did what you could, and you've taught me so much. Like, I appreciate you so much for that. You know, I wouldn't be who I am today because if you didn't go through those things or put us through those things.
There's beauty in the struggle, right?
Yeah, there's so much beauty in it.
You know, but like someone like me, you know, guys, you know, there's always a way. Like, I used to sell Tupperware, cell phones, you know, clothes. I mean, what else? Avon. I used to do everything and anything.
Cell phones.
You know, I used to work on the weekends and take on more clients. I used to translate, you know, papers to get paid. You name it. I did so much just to make extra money. I think that's where, you know, hustler is just in me. You know, I didn't want to fail myself in that sense. And whether I did all those things, it was hard. I mean, think about one household, 2 kids. And the reason why I decided to do the private school is I wanted them to have a safe haven, you know, as it was for me. I wanted them to have one thing that was stable, and that was school. And I think it did, right? Like it was the one thing that was in my power that I could give them. So, the struggles were worth it. I would go back and do it all over again.
And it's funny when people think that you went to private school. Oh, you were rich. Oh, no. Hell no. I was not rich at all. But, I loved
people donated uniforms to us. Or I think at one point you guys only had one pair. I remember when it was, to get the school supplies, I was like, fuck, I was the one parent that would always ask the principal if I could, pay in payments and you name it. I always took out loans, with work.
I know. I remember going to those check advancing places.
I was stuck for a full year in those places. I was. But, I'm not embarrassed. I'm not ashamed of it. I did what I had to do at those moments.
You were able to, I didn't have to work. You had to work at my age. I didn't have to work. So it's crazy, you didn't want us to go through what you went through. You had to pay your whole college tuition, your prom, everything, senior this, senior that. And it gets expensive because I know how expensive prom can be.
Since sophomore year, I paid for my tuition.
Yes. So I didn't have to do that. So how amazing is that? And you paid for both of us to go to college. Both of us. I think we...
Damn, girl. Do we need a
another clap for that.
Damn, girl. I need a clap for myself, right? That's something definitely that I'm proud of. And I think it's that mental capacity, like, shit, I don't want to fail my kids. I don't want to... I've got to do what I've got to do. And I wanted to break the cycle. I wanted you guys to be successful. And if it meant for me to figure it out and all the crazy shit that I did to figure it out, then that's what I did. But I think that's the beauty of it, is that who you are now and who your brother is, I don't think you guys would be who you are if it weren't for all those struggles and all those things. It taught you different. And I know that you both know that for sure.
Exactly.
So thank you, ladies. Ashley, what message do you want to give?
That's it. We're done. We've talked for a long time.
Yes, we have. It can go on forever. 2 hours? It's been 2 hours? No.
You're lying.
Híjola. Okay, sorry, guys. I know we talk so much, but there's so much to talk about. And I think the beauty of doing this is just the flow. It's, it's talking. It's una plática. It's like we're just talking, just mother and daughter, but we're coming from an amazing place.
And more to come, I hope, right?
Yes, of course. TBD for sure. Let's give our followers, our fans, something to take home or to kind of leave them with, to be like, you know what? I'm going to come back and listen to this podcast.
Okay, so you want me to give a message?
Yes, give them a message.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Leave them with a powerful message for it being March 31st, the last day of Women's History Month.
Okay, so the message that I would want to say is be who you are. Don't let anybody rain on your parade. Really just do whatever truly makes you happy. Don't care about what anybody thinks. And I always say that because it's so important. You have one life to live. It's so important to live it for yourself. You truly have to live it for yourself and truly do what makes you happy. It's not being selfish, but when we all go away someday, it's like you don't want to look back at your life saying, I wish I did this. I wish I went here. I wish I did this for myself. And it's so important to do whatever makes you happy, do what you love, and do it with the people you love, because without love in this world, there's literally no point. I can have a million cars, the biggest house, but if I don't have people in that home that I truly love and that love me the same, there's no point. I'll be miserable. So love hard and love genuine, be genuine and be you.
I love it, child. I couldn't have said it any better. Isn't she amazing? I am like I got chills just listening to
I know,
my
I feel like
child.
crying right now because I just feel like there's so many people in this world that like go through so much, and it makes me so sad. It breaks my heart. So it makes me happy that we're doing things like this, because when I was younger, I wish I did more of this. I wish I did more things for myself, because it's hard being a woman. It really is. There's
Very,
so
very
much
hard.
pressure to be perfect. And I know being a guy is hard too, but I just feel like it's different for women. It's like this image that we have to portray. We have to portray beauty.
Perfect.
We have to portray, we have to be these perfect women, and we have to have so many hats that we do. We have to be mothers. We have to be girlfriends, wives. We have to be friends. We have to be sisters. We have to be daughters. We have to be so many things. And it's like, it gets really hard sometimes. So that's why it's so important to take care of yourself and really, really find what makes you happy. Because like I said, there's no point if you're not happy. You know, you shouldn't worry about what other people think about you and making other people happy, because we have one life to live, and it's important to live it to the fullest. And yeah, that's the message that I want to leave you guys with, and always do things with love. I think it's important. I always say that is, do everything with love, show love everywhere you go, because again, love can change the world.
Kindness.
Yeah, love can definitely change the world. With love, we can do anything.
Mm-hmm. Be kind to others, and share things that are working for you. You know, if you've gone to an event or something that really helped you, share it. I think that's beautiful when you want to give that gift to someone else. You know, together we can be so powerful and impact and change so many lives. So, you know, please continue to join us. Thank you for listening to us. We're here talking about expectations, confidence, being genuine, you know, daddy issues, you know, mother, daughter, and just being overall chingonas as women, because we seriously should be on top of the world.
Yes,
right?
You guys are all amazing, and I really hope you guys know that. And thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you for having me, Mom. I feel really lucky to be able to do this with you. It just makes me happy doing things like this. And so thank you.
Child.
I love you too. I love you
are
so much.
Amazing, and thank you for coming.
Yay.
We did awesome. Woo!